You know what this place is? It's located in the center of the North Pole. And it's the center of the Earth's magnetic field known as the torus field. That black thing in the center of the whirlwind is the tallest mountain on Earth, far more taller than the Mount Everest. It's so tall that even it peaks reaching out the clouds. It's the Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, also known as Mount Meru. Some people also called it Mount Zion. You wouldn't find this massive mountain existence in mainstream science and media because it's deliberately concealed. Because if the world knew that there is such a huge mountain in the center of the Earth, it would change the course of history. This includes the true nature of our world. It would be rewritten, and that will undo the globe-shaped Earth theory and the entire timeline of the Earth from the beginning, and they don't want that. Look at how the wind stream passes through that mountain. It blocks the wind stream because of its height and size. The Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, described by Mercator as 33 French miles in size or roughly 40 miles in diameter. It purportedly explains why all compasses point to this location. The biggest shareholder of all the major companies in the world is BlackRock. It is named after this mountain.
Space is not real, and we actually live under God's glass firmament dome. And I'm about to break this all down for you. So we know in Genesis 1, God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. This word firmament in Hebrew is known as an extended solid surface, considered by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above. Now, why did God create this? Well, I think I just got a whole new understanding on this. So we look in Job 37:18, hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. What is a looking glass? Well, a magnifying glass is also known as a looking glass. Now watch what happens when you put water above a glass and you look down on it. It magnifies it and makes it look bigger. Is it possible that God created the firmament as a looking glass? Because we know God sits directly above the firmament. He said in Isaiah 66, thus saith Yahweh, the heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne and the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above it, Jesus. So we know God's throne is above the firmament, and he said the sky is as a molten looking glass, or a magnifying glass. So it really makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Stop believing what science and NASA tells you, and start believing what the Word of God says.
Listen, I have to show you something. Listen, I'm telling you. NASA is fake.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
Listen to this retired Delta Airlines pilot of more than 30 years' experience in the cockpit.
I was a 15-year Navy pilot and officer with 2 carrier tours in Vietnam. I was an airline pilot for Delta for 26 years, retiring off the Lockheed 1011 TriStar in 1999. A pilot's primary flight instrument is his artificial horizon, which he has to be maintained level to keep from climbing and descending, and which coincidentally perfectly lined up with a horizon that met my eye in the distance. Towns, cities, mountain ranges, rivers, etc. would first appear as a fine line at eye level on the horizon and slowly appear to bloom up from the ground as my aircraft approached. From the cockpit, weather permitting, I could see hundreds of miles in all directions, viewing cities connected by roads, sparkling like jewels across the flat plain as far as the eye could see.
I don't blame you, James. I used to laugh about it too. Hell, I still laugh today. I still wake up laughing, thinking like, the earth is really flat, huh? That's something, because let me show you what is funny. This is pretty funny. Why don't you take a look at this? It's pretty funny, isn't it? This is pretty funny. And I actually went through and verified all these things because I thought there was no way. There was no way. And then once you see that it's actually true, boom. This is a funny one. This is a funny one. Let me show you why. It sort of looks like this. I don't know if you know anything about the Gleason's map, but it's a flat earth map. Alex Gleason was a flat earther. He has a book about this map and how to read it and how to use it. These were real fun to get into. And funny. Check that out, huh? There's 16 different flights in there. There's a free PDF. You can Google this and look through the whole book, free PDF. You should probably go look at some of those because they're funny as well. This is one of my favorite ones. This one is funny, okay? This is a funny one. We can all laugh at this, right? I'm sure we could agree on that. These were all pretty funny. I don't know if you know anything about any of them or if you've looked into them. They're pretty funny. And I'll leave it with this one. This is the funniest of all. I take that back. There's a fun fact about the moon. There's 97 bags of human feces left on the moon. Supposedly. 97 bags. That's funny. That's some funny shit right there. You have a good one, James. Glad we can make you laugh.
Another pilot proves there's no curvature from 37,000 feet. The Earth is flat. The only time you will really find any curvature is when they use fish-eye lens or wide-angle lens. Also, on NASA's photoshopped images. Other than that, it's flat AF.
Okay, pop quiz. You ever wonder why they call it an airplane? Because it flies in the air over a plane.
Somebody tagged me in this video, and it's supposed to explain why we can't see the curvature of Earth. And the premise of the video is that Earth is so gigantic in relation to us. We are so microscopic on Earth that we couldn't possibly see any curvature. Now, the only problem with this argument is that it negates another argument, which is that we can see boats disappear going over the curvature of Earth standing on the beach. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that Earth is so large you can't see the curvature and then in the same breath say that there's enough curvature over 3 miles to make an entire ship disappear. It doesn't make sense. We have a person standing here that's witnessing a ship vanish right before their eyes. Now, what could make this ship vanish if there is no curvature in between the person and the ship? Convergence, maybe? You guys need to wrap your head around this concept or you'll forever think you're in outer space spinning on a rock where monkeys turned into talking people. The only reason you can see the sun, the stars, and the moon is because they are not millions of miles away from you. You've been finessed. Why? I have no idea. I don't have all the answers. I'm just pointing out the obvious. You can either take it or leave it. It's up to you. But this is your reality. Your perception of reality will not change the facts. And to see this, you need only to be a critical thinker. I think that's the issue here. Most globe enthusiasts don't think critically. And then you call us people who do think critically conspiracy theorists. When you guys are the ones with all the damn theories. The theory of relativity, the theory of evolution, the Big Bang theory, the theory of gravity. Everything about this globe that you believe in is dependent upon theories. And all they have to do is put the word scientific before theory and you're sold on it. That's wild. Y'all enjoy being lied to. I can't even understand it.
An historic moment today in aviation. For the first time, a solar-powered plane has crossed the Atlantic Ocean without using fossil fuel. The Solar Impulse 2 landed in Spain today, 3 days after taking off from New York. As Eric Sorensen explains, what was once thought to be impossible is now a reality.
What it is an airplane that shows what future air travel may look like. Yes, it's almost as wide as a football field is long with just one seat. But just as the Wright brothers couldn't carry passengers, Solar Impulse represents the first steps in solar-powered flight. And to prove its potential, they began flying it around the world, from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific. Remember, it has no fuel. It then was on to the United States, hopscotched across America, powered only by the sun. And now it has crossed its last ocean, the Atlantic. Not much further to go. What it is an airplane that shows what future air travel may look like. Yes, it's almost as wide as a football field is long with just one seat. But just as the Wright brothers couldn't carry passengers, Solar Impulse represents the first steps in solar-powered flight. And to prove its potential, they began flying it around the world, from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific. Remember, it has no fuel. It then was on to the United States, hopscotched across America, powered only by the sun. And now it has crossed its last ocean, the Atlantic. Not much further to go.
Gravity just got debunked. There is no such thing as gravity. It's all density and buoyancy. If it's lighter than air, it will float. If it's heavier than air, it will fall. Gravity is not needed.
I used to believe in this, but now I'm a flat earther. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but one day I just came across some flat earth stuff and I thought it was ridiculous, and I didn't understand, how people could believe in it. And then about a year later, I got back into it, and I was really curious about it because it was just like running through my mind. And I thought, okay, I guess I'll just look into it. And here we are. Like 2 years later, I'm a flat earther. So, yeah, I guess you guys might want to look into it, There's a hashtag flat earth up there. It's got 5 billion views. It's sort of a lot. Maybe go look at it, check it out. Just like hashtag flat earth and just start looking through. It'll actually be a setting that's over there. You gotta drag that because the hashtag one is all the way to the right. So just like look at them and maybe let me know what you think, because I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Like, Earth's not a globe. Have a good day.
Hey, so I took these pictures myself. Everybody was always saying, why don't you do some research when I was posting things about flat Earth? So I went and bought a Nikon P1000 camera and a tripod, and I went to the water's edge and I took these pictures as evidence. And now the same people are telling me that it's barrel distortion from the camera, it's atmospheric refraction, and my math is off as far as what curvature should be there, and basically still not accepting the physical, empirical evidence right in front of them. They doubt the camera, they doubt the actual atmosphere, just everything. So what I realized is, much like the movie The Matrix, when you trigger people and you say certain things and you even corner them intellectually with things and evidence and information, they basically just shake their heads like Agent Smith and turn into an Agent Smith from The Matrix. And it could be anyone. It could be the person right next to you. And that's really so fitting of a comparison, because intelligent people, smart people, dumb people, whoever, it's like you say the wrong thing, you think outside the program, and they just come at you. They come at you. They have to stop you. They have to shut you down. They cannot let you broadcast that thought. It's against the program. And you see it more and more. The more you wake up, the more you see it. It's like Neo walking around after he realizes it's a matrix. Everything is the same, but his perception. His perception, he sees everyone's asleep. Everyone's a zombie and blind, deaf and dumb. And if he steps outside of the program, they turn into an Agent Smith. And as far as evidence and facts, I've experienced that for a fact. Besides the evidence of the flat earth, I've experienced Agent Smiths in real life. Just turn on you, just come at you. Could be your closest friend, could be a really smart person, but the programming is very strong. Stand alone in what you see and what you believe, and have a great night.
Our next speaker is Professor James McKinney.
If you double the size of your rocket, you don't double the size of your payload. So you're very limited, and now let's try and get to the next planet or out to the moon. We have to start sending individual things up there, couple them together, and then go out to these other planets. By the way, there's a small problem with going to the moon, and inch by inch, NASA is leaking out that they know that there's a problem there. It's called the Van Allen belts, high radiation belts of charged particles around Earth, and we don't know how to get through them, they say. Well, isn't that interesting, because there sure didn't seem to be a problem back in 1969. Obviously, they didn't go to the moon. The United States did not go to the moon. The Russians knew it all along. I thought at the time we did, but I've since learned we absolutely did not. And there's no question about it. And they're starting to figure it out. NASA has a program called Living with a Star. That's a pretty name for how do we get through the Van Allen belts. They have all their top scientists working on it. It's a tremendous problem because we do not have any kind of a spacecraft that we can send up that doesn't have metal in it. And when these charged particles hit metal, they produce X-rays. Nothing you can do to get around that. So anybody sitting around something metal in outer space in the Van Allen belts is going to be French fried. And so that whole thing was a giant hoax. And you have second and third tier scientists in the United States who are running around saying, oh, yes, we did, yes, we did. But the very top level people, what I call the tier one scientists, the black op mill scientists, know for a fact we didn't go. And it's a real problem. They don't know how to get through there. This picture is with the new Hubble camera, and it shows that in fact, if you take this angular distance out to Pluto and you translate it into the surface of the moon, we can in fact resolve the landing sites, the alleged lunar landing sites. And the way you would do this is you take the pictures at dusk when the shadows became very long, and it would be a very hard thing for them to fake. So at any rate, we have telescopes on Earth that are much larger than the Hubble. Much better resolving power. So why, you would think these astronomers would be chomping at the bit to show you those lunar landing sites. And look at the incredible resolving power of this telescope we have here. Why have none of them done that? Because there ain't nothing there. And we get all kinds of excuses. Oh, we can't turn the telescope up there because the moon's too bright. Well, then all of a sudden we saw the full moon on a web page, on a NASA web page, the entire full moon taken with the Hubble Space Telescope. And you're telling me they can't take one little teeny patch of the moon, which is millions of times less bright. So bottom line is, they know they didn't go.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was al-Biruni, and he lived from 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also of the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alankar, known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo. I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific Ocean where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional map maker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.